Bem-vindo ao Deep Dumps. No Deep Dumps, nossa missão é ajudá-lo a passar nos exames de certificação com confiança. Acesse os exames de prática mais recentes, PDFs e testes online, sempre atualizados conforme os padrões reais. Com nosso material pronto para o exame, você terá os recursos certos sempre à mão. Milhares de alunos confiam no Deep Dumps, e muitos conquistam a aprovação já na primeira tentativa. Oferecemos suporte 24 de julho por e-mail ou chat ao vivo. E nossos especialistas estão prontos para esclarecer dúvidas e orientá-lo passo a passo. Baixe as perguntas e respostas em PDF. Pratique com questões de qualidade e explicações claras. E avance rumo ao sucesso garantido.
Question 1. An administrator is tasked with applying updates to a vSphere cluster running vSAN using vSphere lifecycle. Manager. Downtime to the SXE hosts must be minimal while the work is completed. The administrator has already completed the following steps and no errors have been returned. Downloaded all applicable software and created a new image. Attached the new image to the cluster and run a compliance check against the image for the cluster. Ran a remediation pre-check for the cluster. Which two series of steps should the administrator perform to start the remediation of the cluster using the new image? Choose 2. Option A. 1. Use the remediate option in vSphere Lifecycle Manager to remediate all of the SXE hosts in the cluster in parallel. 2. Allow vSphere Lifecycle Manager to automatically control maintenance mode on the SXE hosts. Option B. 1. Place each of the SXE hosts into maintenance mode manually. 2. Use the stage option in vSphere Lifecycle Manager to stage the required software on all SXE hosts one at a time. Option C. 1. Leave all SXE hosts in the cluster operational. 2. Use the Stage All option in vSphere Lifecycle Manager to stage the required software onto all SXE hosts one at a time. Option D. 1. Leave all SXE hosts in the cluster operational. 2. Use the Stage All option in vSphere Lifecycle Manager to stage the required software onto all SXE hosts in the cluster in parallel. Option E. 1. Use the Remediate option in vSphere Lifecycle Manager to remediate all of the SXE hosts in the cluster in sequence. 2. Allow vSphere Lifecycle Manager to automatically control maintenance mode on the SXE hosts. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option D. 1. Leave all SXE hosts in the cluster operational. 2. Use the Stage All option in vSphere Lifecycle Manager to stage the required software onto all SXE hosts in the cluster in parallel. Option E. 1. Use the Remediate option in vSphere Lifecycle Manager to remediate all of the SXE hosts in the cluster in sequence. 2. Allow vSphere Lifecycle Manager to automatically control maintenance mode on the SXE hosts. Question 2. An administrator is working with VMware support and is asked to provide log bundles for the SXE hosts in an environment. Which three options does the administrator have? Choose 3. Option A. Generate a combined log bundle for all SXE hosts using the vCenter management interface. Option B. Generate a separate log bundle for each SXE host using the vSphere host client. Option C. Generate a combined log bundle for all SXE hosts using the vSphere client. Option D. Generate a separate log bundle for each SXE host using the vSphere client. Option E. Generate a separate log bundle for each SXE host using the vCenter management interface. Option F. Generate a combined log bundle for all SXE hosts using the vSphere host client. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B. Generate a separate log bundle for each SXE host using the vSphere host client. Option C. Generate a combined log bundle for all SXE hosts using the vSphere client. Option D. Generate a separate log bundle for each SXE host using the vSphere client. Question 3. An administrator needs to consolidate a number of physical servers by migrating the workloads to a software-defined data center. Solution. Which VMware solution should the administrator recommend? Option A. VMware Horizon. Option B. VMware vSAN. Option C. VMware vSphere. Option D. VMware NSX. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option C. VMware vSphere. Question 4. An administrator is tasked with configuring Remote Direct Memory Access (RDMA) over Converged Ethernet version 2. ROS version 2. Which two types of adapters must the administrator configure? Choose 2. Option A. Paravirtual RDMA adapter. Option B. RDMA network adapter. Option C. Software ISCSI adapter. Option D. Fiber Channel over Ethernet FCOE adapter. Option E. Software NVMe over RDMA storage adapter. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B. RDMA network adapter. Option E. Software NVMe over RDMA storage adapter. Question 5. An administrator has a host profile named standard config. The administrator wants to change the other host profiles to use only the storage configuration settings that are defined in the standard config host profile. What should the administrator do to make this change? Option A. Export host customizations and import them to the other host profiles. Option B. Copy the storage settings from standard config to all other host profiles. Option C. Duplicate the standard config host profile and only modify the storage configuration settings. Option D. Export the standard config host profile and attach it to tile other hosts. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B. Copy the storage settings from standard config to all other host profiles. Question 6. A vSphere cluster has the following configuration. Virtual machines, VMs, are running production and test workloads. vSphere Distributed Resource Scheduler, DRS, is enabled. There are no resource pools in the cluster. Performance monitoring data shows that the production workload VMs are not receiving their fully allocated memory when the vSphere cluster is fully utilized. A combination of which two steps could the administrator perform to ensure that the production VMs are always guaranteed the full allocation of memory? Choose 2. Option A. Assign a custom memory share value to the resource pool containing the production VMs. Option B. Assign a memory reservation value to the resource pool containing the production VMs. Option C. Create a parent resource pool for the production VMs. Option D. Create a sibling resource pool for each of the production and test VMs. Option E. Create a child resource pool for the test VMs. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B. Assign a memory reservation value to the resource pool containing the production VMs. Option C. Create a parent resource pool for the production VMs. Question 7. Which two data store types store the components of a virtual machine as a set of objects? Choose 2. Option A. VMware Virtual Machine File System. VMFS. Option B. VMware VSAN. Option C. Network File System. NFS. 3. Option D. vSphere Virtual Volumes. vVols. Option E. Network File System. NFS. 4. 1. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B VMware VSAN, Option D vSphere Virtual Volumes, vVols. Question 8. Refer to the exhibit. After updating a predefined alarm on VMware vCenter, an administrator enables email notifications as shown in the attached alarm. However, notifications are not being sent. Where must the mail server settings be configured by the administrator to resolve this issue? Option A. In the SXE host system config. Option B. In the alarm rule definition. Option C. In the vCenter settings in the vSphere client. Option D. In the vCenter management interface. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option C in the vCenter settings in the vSphere client. Question 9. An administrator creates a virtual machine that contains the latest company-approved software, tools and security updates. Company policy requires that only full clones are allowed for server workloads. A combination of which two tasks should the administrator complete to prepare for the deployment of this virtual machine for multiple users? Choose 2. Option A. Set appropriate permissions on the virtual machine. Option B. Create a virtual machine customization specification. Option C. Upgrade the virtual hardware. Option D. Convert the virtual machine to a template. Option E. Take a snapshot of the virtual machine. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B. Create a virtual machine customization specification. Option D. Convert the virtual machine to a template. Question 10. During the staging of a patch on a vCenter server appliance, an error was encountered and the process stopped. An administrator resolved the root cause and is ready to continue with the staging of the patch. From the vCenter management interface, which action should the administrator take to continue the process from the point at which the error occurred? Option A. Use the stage and install option to resume the staging. Option B. Use the resume option to resume the staging. Option C. Use the InStage option to restart the staging. Option D. Use the Stage Only option to restart the staging. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B. Use the Resume option to resume the staging. Question 11. An administrator is adding a new SXE host to an existing vSphere cluster. When selecting the cluster, the administrator is unable to use the cluster quick start workflow to add and configure the additional host. What could be the root cause of this issue? Option A. The administrator has previously dismissed the cluster quick start workflow. Option B. The administrator must manually add the host to the cluster before using the cluster quick start workflow. Option C. The administrator has not been assigned the required permissions to use the cluster quick start workflow. Option D. The administrator must enable the cluster quick start workflow option in VMware vCenter. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. The administrator has previously dismissed the cluster quick start workflow. Question 12. A company has two sites, Site A and Site B. The administrator would like to manage the VMware vCenter inventories in both sites from a single vSphere client session. Which vCenter feature must be configured? Option A. VMware Certificate Authority. Option B. VMware Site Recovery Manager. Option C. vCenter Single Sign-On. Option D. Enhanced Linked Mode. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option D, Enhanced Linked Mode. Question 13. An administrator plans to update the supervisor cluster and has noticed some of the Tanzu Kubernetes grid clusters are running in incompatible version. Which action must the administrator take before proceeding with the supervisor cluster update? Option A. Update all Tanzu Kubernetes grid clusters to the latest version prior to the supervisor cluster update. Option B. No action is needed. Tanzu Kubernetes grid clusters will be updated automatically as part of the update process. Option C. No action is needed. Incompatible Tanzu Kubernetes grid clusters can be manually updated after the supervisor cluster update. Option D. Update incompatible Tanzu Kubernetes grid clusters prior to the supervisor cluster update. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option D. Update incompatible Tanzu Kubernetes grid clusters prior to the supervisor cluster update. Question 14. Which 3 vSphere features are still supported for Windows-based virtual machines when enabling vSphere's virtualization-based security feature? Choose 3. Option A. vSphere vMotion. Option B. PCI pass-through. Option C. vSphere high availability. HA. Option D. vSphere fault tolerance. Option E. vSphere distributed resources scheduler. DRS. Option F. Hot add of CPU or memory. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. vSphere vMotion. Option C. vSphere high availability. HA. Option E. vSphere distributed resources scheduler. DRS. Question 15. An administrator wants to create virtual machine (VM) templates and store them in a content library. The administrator would like to use the content library to manage different versions of these templates so that reverting to an earlier version is an option. How should the administrator create these templates? Option A. Select a VM in the vCenter inventory. Clone the VM to the content library as the VM template type. Option B. Select a VM template in the vCenter inventory. Clone the template to the content library. Option C. Export a VM in the vCenter inventory to an OVF template. Import the OVF template into the content library. Option D. Convert a VM to a template in the vCenter inventory. Clone the template to the content library. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. Select a VM in the vCenter inventory. Clone the VM to the content library as the VM template type. Question 16. An administrator is tasked with configuring certificates for a VMware software-defined data center (SDDC) based on the following requirements. All certificates should use certificates trusted by the Enterprise Certificate Authority (CA). The solution should minimize the ongoing management overhead of replacing certificates. Which 3 actions should the administrator take to ensure that the solution meets corporate policy? Choose 3. Option A. Replace the VMware Certificate Authority (VMCA) certificate with a self-signed certificate generated from the VMCA. Option B. Replace the machine SSL certificates with custom certificates generated from the Enterprise CA. Option C. Replace the machine SSL certificates with trusted certificates generated from the VMware Certificate Authority (VMCA). Option D. Replace the VMware Certificate Authority (VMCA) certificate with a custom certificate generated from the Enterprise CA. Option E. Replace the solution user certificates with custom certificates generated from the Enterprise CA. Option F. Replace the solution user certificates with trusted certificates generated from the VMware Certificate Authority (VMCA). Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option C. Replace the machine SSL certificates with trusted certificates generated from the VMware Certificate Authority (VMCA). Option D. Replace the VMware Certificate Authority (VMCA) certificate with a custom certificate generated from the Enterprise CA. Option F. Replace the solution user certificates with trusted certificates generated from the VMware Certificate Authority (VMCA). Question 17. An administrator is tasked with moving an application and guest operating system (OS) running on top of a physical server to a software-defined data center (SDDC) in a remote secure location. The following constraints apply. The remote secure location has no network connectivity to the outside world. The business owner is not concerned if all changes in the application make it to the SDDC in the secure location. The application's data is hosted in a database with a high number of transactions. What could the administrator do to create an image of the guest OS and application that can be moved to this remote data center? Option A. Create a hot clone of the physical server using VMware vCenter Converter. Option B. Create a cold clone of the physical server using VMware vCenter Converter. Option C. Restore the guest OS from a backup. Option D. Use storage replication to replicate the guest OS and application. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B. Create a cold clone of the physical server using VMware vCenter Converter. Question 18. An administrator is tasked with configuring an appropriate single sign-on (SSO) solution for VMware vCenter based on the following criteria. The solution should support the creation of enhanced link mode groups. All user accounts are stored within a single Active Directory domain, and the solution must support only this Active Directory domain as the identity source. All user account password and account lockout policies must be managed within the Active Directory domain. The solution should support token-based authentication. Which SSO solution should the administrator choose based on the criteria? Option A. vCenter Identity Provider Federation with Active Directory Federation Services as the identity provider. Option B. vCenter Single Sign-On with Active Directory over LDAP as the identity source. Option C. vCenter Single Sign-On with Active Directory Windows Integrated Authentication as the identity source. Option D. vCenter Identity Provider Federation with Active Directory over LDAP as the identity provider. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. vCenter Identity Provider Federation with Active Directory Federation Services as the identity provider. Question 19. An administrator is tasked with looking into the disaster recovery options for protecting the database server using VMware vSphere replication. The following requirements must be met. The virtual machine must remain online during the protection. The virtual machine's snapshots must be used as part of the replication process. Which step must the administrator complete to accomplish this task? Option A. Configure the virtual machine storage policy. Option B. Enable guest OS VSS quiescing for this virtual machine. Option C. Perform a full initial synchronization of the source virtual machine to the target location. Option D. Configure network traffic isolation for vSphere replication. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B. Enable guest OS VSS quiescing for this virtual machine. Question 20. An administrator must gracefully restart a virtual machine VM through the vSphere client, but the option is grayed out. The administrator has full administrative access on VMware vCenter and all the objects available in vCenter, but has no access to log on to the operating system. Which action should the administrator take to meet the objective? Option A. Upgrade the virtual hardware. Option B. Migrate the VM to another host. Option C. Install VMware tools. Option D. Restart vCenter. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option C. Install VMware tools. Question 21. An administrator is tasked with installing VMware vCenter. The vCenter server appliance must support an environment of 400 hosts, 4000 virtual machines, which 2 resources must be allocated at a minimum. To meet the requirements, choose 2. Option A. 16 vCPUs. Option B. 30 GB memory. Option C. 4 vCPUs. Option D. 8 vCPUs. Option E. 20 GB memory. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B. 30 GB memory. Option D. 8 vCPUs. Question 22. Which VMware offering will allow an administrator to manage the lifecycle of multiple vCenter server instances in a single software as a service SaaS-based solution to help drive operational efficiency? Option A. VMware vSphere with Tanzu. Option B. VMware Cloud Foundation. Option C. VMware vSphere Plus. Option D. VMware ARIA Suite Lifecycle. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option C. VMware vSphere Plus. Question 23. Which feature would allow for the non-disruptive migration of a virtual machine between 2 clusters in a single VMware vCenter instance? Option A. vSphere vMotion. Option B. Cross vCenter migration. Option C. vSphere storage vMotion. Option D. vSphere fault tolerance. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. vSphere vMotion. Question 24. Which 4 elements can a vSphere Lifecycle Manager image contain? Choose 4. Option A. SXE base image. Option B. SXE configuration. Option C. Vendor agents. Option D. Vendor add-ons. Option E. BIOS updates. Option F. Firmware and drivers add-on. Option G. Independent components. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. SXE base image. Option D. Vendor add-ons. Option F. Firmware and drivers add-on. Option G. Independent components. Question 25. If a distributed switch uses the route based on physical NIC load balancing algorithm, what does the mean send or receive utilization of an uplink need to exceed for the flow of traffic to move to the second uplink? Option A. 75% of the capacity over a 30-second period. Option B. 60% of the capacity over a 30-second period. Option C. 60% of the capacity over a 40-second period. Option D. 75% of the capacity over a 40-second period. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option A, 75% of the capacity over a 30-second period. Question 26. An administrator manually configures a reference SXE host that meets company security standards for vSphere environments. The administrator now needs to apply all of the security standards to every identically configured host across multiple vSphere clusters within a single VMware vCenter instance. Which 4 steps would the administrator complete to meet this requirement? Choose 4. Option A. Extract the host profile from the reference host. Option B. Export the host profile from vCenter. Option C. Import host customization on the reference host. Option D. Attach the host profile to each cluster that requires the secure configuration. Option E. Check the compliance of each host against the host profile. Option F. Reset host customization on the reference host. Option G. Remediate all non-compliant hosts. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option A. Extract the host profile from the reference host. Option D. Attach the host profile to each cluster that requires the secure configuration. Option E. Check the compliance of each host against the host profile. Option G. Remediate all non-compliant hosts. Question 27. After a recent unexplained peak in virtual machine (VM) CPU usage, an administrator is asked to monitor the VM performance for a recurrence of the issue. Which 2 tools can the administrator use? Choose 2. Option A. vCenter Management Interface. Option B. Direct Console User Interface DCUI. Option C. vSphere Performance Charts. Option D. vCenter Command Line Interface. Option E. SXE Shell. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option C, vSphere Performance Charts. Option E, SXE Shell. Question 28. An administrator is tasked with configuring vSphere Trust Authority. The administrator has completed the following steps. Next. Option A. Import the trusted host information to the Trust Authority cluster. Option B. Import the trusted cluster information to the trusted hosts. Option C. Create the key provider on the trusted cluster. Option D. Import the trusted host information to the trusted cluster. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option A. Import the trusted host information to the Trust Authority cluster. Question 29. Refer to the exhibit. An administrator set up the following configuration. The distributed switch has 3 SXE hosts, and each host has 240 gigabits per second NICs. The amount of bandwidth reserved for virtual machine (VM) traffic is 6 gigabits per second. The administrator wants to guarantee that VMs in the finance distributed port group can access 50% of the available reserved bandwidth for VM traffic. Given this scenario, what should the size, in GBPs, of the finance network resource pool be? Option A, 18. Option B, 80. Option C, 36. Option D, 120. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option A, 18. Question 30. A vSphere environment is experiencing intermittent short bursts of CPU contention, causing brief production outages for some of the virtual machines (VMs). To understand the cause of the issue, the administrator wants to observe near real-time statistics for all VMs. Which 2 vSphere reporting tools could the administrator use? Choose 2. Option A. Advanced Performance Charts. Option B. ESXCLI. Option C. Resextop. Option D. Overview Performance Charts. Option E. ESXtop. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option C. Resextop. Option E. ESXtop. Question 31. An administrator is performing maintenance activities and discovers that a virtual machine file system (VMFS) data store has a lot more used capacity than expected. The data store contains 10 virtual machines (VMs), and when the administrator reviews the contents of the associated data store, discovers that 5 virtual machines have a snapshot file Delta VMDK files that has not been modified in over 12 months. The administrator checks the snapshot manager within the vSphere client and confirms that there are no snapshots visible. Which task should the administrator complete on the virtual machines to free up data store space? Option A. Consolidate the snapshots for each VM. Option B. Inflate the disk files for each VM. Option C. Delete all snapshots for each VM. Option D. Storage vMotion each VM to another data store. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. Consolidate the snapshots for each VM. Question 32. An administrator is attempting to configure Storage I/O Control (SIOC) on 5 data stores within a vSphere environment. The administrator is being asked to determine why SIOC configuration completed successfully on only 4 of K data stores. What are 2 possible reasons why the configuration was not successful? Choose 2. Option A. The data store contains raw device mappings (RDMs). Option B. SAS disks are used for the data store. Option C. The data store has multiple extents. Option D. The data store is using ISCSI. Option E. The administrator is using NFS storage. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. The data store contains raw device mappings (RDMs). Option C. The data store has multiple extents. Question 33. An administrator has mapped 3 vSphere zones to 3 vSphere clusters. Which 2 statements are true for this vSphere with Tanzu Zonal Supervisor enablement? Choose 2. Option A. One supervisor will be created in a specific zone. Option B. One supervisor will be created across all zones. Option C. 3 supervisors will be created in linked mode. Option D. Individual vSphere namespaces will be placed into a specific zone. Option E. Individual vSphere namespaces will be spread across all zones. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B. One supervisor will be created across all zones. Option E. Individual vSphere namespaces will be spread across all zones. Question 34. An administrator is investigating reports of users experiencing difficulties logging into a VMware vCenter instance using LDAP accounts. Which service should the administrator check as part of troubleshooting? Option A. vSphere Authentication Proxy Service. Option B. Lookup Service. Option C. Identity Management Service. Option D. VMware Authentication Framework Daemon. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option C. Identity Management Service. Question 35. An administrator is looking to deploy a new VMware vCenter instance. The current environment consists of 75 hosts and is expected to grow up to 100 hosts over the next 3 years. Which deployment size should the administrator select? Option A, medium. Option B, tiny. Option C, large. Option D, small. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option D, small. Question 36. An administrator has been notified that a number of hosts are not compliant with the company policy for time synchronization. The relevant portion of the policy states, all physical servers must synchronize time with an external time source that is accurate to the microsecond. Which step should the administrator take to ensure compliance with the policy? Option A. Ensure that each vCenter server appliance is configured to use a network time protocol. NTP. Source. Option B. Ensure that each SXE host is configured to use a precision time protocol. PTP. Source. Option C. Ensure that each SXE host is configured to use a network time protocol. NTP. Source. Option D. Ensure that each vCenter server appliance is configured to use a precision time protocol. PTP. Source. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option B. Ensure that each SXE host is configured to use a precision time protocol. PTP. Source. Question 37. An administrator is creating a content library to manage VM templates and ISO images. The administrator wants to password protect the images and templates and share them with a remote site. Which two tasks must the administration perform when creating the content library? Choose 2. Option A. Publish the local content library. Option B. Enable the security policy. Option C. Create a subscribed content library. Option D. Select an NFS data store. Option E. Enable authentication. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option A. Publish the local content library. Option E. Enable authentication. Question 38. An administrator is responsible for the management of a VMware vCenter instance that is currently experiencing performance issues. The administrator quickly identifies that the CPU in memory utilization of vCenter is consistently over 80%. Upon further analysis, it seems that the VPXD process is contributing significantly to the performance issue. A combination of which 4 steps should the administrator take to resolve the performance issues and ensure that a similar issue can be rectified without requiring downtime to vCenter moving forward? Choose 4. Option A. Gracefully shut down vCenter using the vSphere client. Option B. Enable CPU hot add on the vCenter virtual machine. Option C. Power on the vCenter server appliance using the vSphere host client. Option D. Enable CPU in memory hot add on the vCenter virtual machine. Option E. Add additional CPU in memory to the vCenter server appliance. Option F. Power on the vCenter server appliance using the vSphere client. Option G. Enable memory not add on the vCenter virtual machine. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option A. Gracefully shut down vCenter using the vSphere client. Option C. Power on the vCenter server appliance using the vSphere host client. Option D. Enable CPU in memory hot add on the vCenter virtual machine. Option E. Add additional CPU in memory to the vCenter server appliance. Question 39. An administrator successfully installs VMware SXE onto the first host of a new vSphere cluster but makes no additional configuration changes. When attempting to log into the vSphere host client using the fully qualified domain name FQDN of the host, the administrator receives the following error message. Server not found, we can't connect to the server at SXE101. Corp. Local. The following information has been provided to complete the configuration. Host FQDN. SXE101. Corp. Local Management VLAN ID. 10 DHCP. No management IP address. 172.16.10. 101.24 Management IP Gateway. 172.16.10. 1 Corporate DNS Servers. 172.16.10. 5. 172.16.10. 6 ONS Domain. Corp. Local. In addition, all host configurations must also meet the following requirements. The management network must use only IPv4 network protocols. The management network must be fault tolerant. Which 3 high-level tasks should the administrator complete? At a minimum, in order to successfully log into the vSphere host client using the FQDN for SXE101 and complete A. Configuration. Choose 3. Option A. Ensure a DNSA record is created for the VMware SXE host on the corporate DNS servers. Option B. Update the VMware SXE Management Network DNS configuration to use the corporate DNS servers for names. Resolution. Option C. Update the VMware SXE Management Network IPv4 configuration to use a static IPv4 address. Option D. Configure at least 2 network adapters for the VMware SXE Management Network. Option E. Set the value of the VMware SXE Management Network VLAN ID to 10. Option F. Disable IPv6 for the VMware SXE Management Network. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. Ensure a DNSA record is created for the VMware SXE host on the corporate DNS servers. Option C. Update the VMware SXE Management Network IPv4 configuration to use a static IPv4 address. Option E. Set the value of the VMware SXE Management Network VLAN ID to 10. Question 40. When configuring vCenter high availability, which 2 statements are true regarding the active, passive, and witness nodes? Choose 2. Option A. Network latency must be less than 10 milliseconds. Option B. They must have a supported wide area network. WAN. Option C. They must have a minimum of a 10 gigabits per second network adapter. Option D. They must have a minimum of a 1 gigabit per second network adapter. Option E. Network latency must be more than 10 milliseconds. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. Network latency must be less than 10 milliseconds. Option D. They must have a minimum of a 1 gigabit per second network adapter.